Our society is currently full of tools that are helping us become quicker, better, more efficient so that we can save the precious resource that is our time. However, this behavior has given us the impression that time is simply something that we can mold and use to our advantage to help us achieve our goals, instead of something that just simply exists. And as a result, we have completely ruined our relationship with time. Oh my God, he said the name of the video. That's so cool. Oh my God. Seriously, dude? No, you said the name of the video. It was cool. Do you always just like cut people off and interrupt their videos and stuff? Is that like your thing? Well, no, I thought, oh, you just thought. Yeah, just thought. Yeah, I just thought it was cool that you said the thing. Yeah, I guess I'll just leave. Yeah, probably just, that's good. Yeah, thanks. So while there's no shortage of time management content for you to consume these days, there is one book that has carved its own path in the self-help space and has really changed the way that I view time management. And that book is Oliver Burkeman's 4,000 Weeks. 4,000 Weeks is perhaps the anti-time management book. As a society, we didn't know we wanted it, but boy, do we desperately need it. And it is one of the best books that I have ever read in my life. The book really is about accepting our mortality. The title itself, 4,000 Weeks, is a reference to our finite time on this planet. 4,000 weeks is roughly the time that makes up an 80-year life. The real problem that you're gonna find out isn't the limited time we have, it's actually the pressures that we put on ourselves about how to use this limited amount of time, and it has only made the problem worse. When I first read the book, all of my existential dread that was living within me was completely washed away for the first time, and I really wanna share with you in this video 4 of my favorite parts from the book that are hopefully gonna help you do the same. Idea number 1 is the bottomless bucket list. I don't know about you, but I am absolutely obsessed with crossing things off of my to-do list. A lot of these productivity tools that I used gave me the feeling that I was just one work session away or one completed task away from meaningful work that would bring me to this final sense of calm. But as you could probably imagine, this sense of calm never came. These tools, these systems that I put in place to help me actually only made me more stressed and less happy. Why is that? Well, the truth is that the more that you actually try to manage your time and take complete control over your life, the more stressed, the more empty, and the less control you feel like you have. This is because the modern world basically offers us an inexhaustible supply of things to do. And so there's this unbridged gap between what you would ideally like to do and what you can actually achieve in any given amount of time. This whole concept is what Oliver Burkeman has named the bottomless bucket list. If you go out and have a ton of wonderful experiences, all it ends up doing is making you wonder how many more wonderful experiences you can have. This inevitably leads to a sense of dread. However, Burkeman does offer a remedy to this. He actually calls it an anti-skill of sorts. What you need to do is you need to learn how to just sit with the anxiety of feeling overwhelmed without immediately feeling like you have to respond to it. Because you are guaranteed to miss out on almost all of the opportunities that life has to offer, because there are so many, the fact that you still haven't experienced many of them no longer seems like a problem. With this mindset, it's quite liberating. You realize you are never going to achieve them all, so there's no need to feel this urgency to just rush forward to the next one. Idea number 2, settling is perfectly okay. We have been told our entire lives that we should not settle.
Do not settle for that job. Do not settle in a relationship. Never settle, because we deserve the best. You deserve the best.
While I do think that this is really great advice, and I do think that everyone should try to be and strive to be their best selves, the story that we have been told about never settling unfortunately just cannot be true in every single aspect of our lives. Sooner or later, you're gonna realize that you absolutely must fall short of your dreams, because this fantasy land that you have dreamed up for yourself is impossible for anyone to achieve. Now, I know this might seem depressing to some of you that are watching. It actually should not be. It should be the opposite, in fact. This can actually be a liberation for you. Let me give you an example. So if you are procrastinating right now on something because you are worried that you are not going to be good enough, well, you can relax, because given the flawless standards that everyone has of themselves in their heads, you definitely will not live up to them. And that's a good thing, because this is going to liberate you to just start that thing anyways. And this whole concept of accepting that your life isn't going to live up to this dream that you imagined it to be is settling. And I think that everyone definitely should settle, because the truth is, you don't have another choice. Anyone who ever did anything successfully had to settle first. You can't become an ultra successful lawyer, artist, politician without settling on law, art, or politics in the first place and foregoing the potential rewards of another career. The funny truth is that people, when they are forced to make a decision between two mutually exclusive options, are actually much happier as a result. Because when you can no longer turn back, there's only one direction for you to travel, which is forward into the consequences of your decision, and in that direction, your anxiety will wash away. Idea number 3 is something called cosmic insignificance therapy. The hard truth is that what you do with your life doesn't really matter all that much. And when it comes to how we're using our finite time, the universe simply couldn't give less of a shit. In the book, Oliver Burkeman writes about how in every generation, there was at least one person who probably lived to or close to the age of 100. And so it's possible to imagine these people's lives, these 100-year blocks, on a timeline, never overlapping with one another, stretching back through all of history. Now, the crazy part is that by measuring things with this unit of time, eras that seem completely foreign to us are actually much, much closer than you'd expect. Like the Egyptian pharaohs were in their golden age less than 35 lifetimes ago. Jesus was born only about 20 lifetimes ago, and the Renaissance only happened about 7 lifetimes ago. And the point that I'm trying to get at is that these times that seem so long ago, so forgotten about in modern day society, really aren't that far away anyways. So when things all just seem too much, when life seems too much to handle, zoom out a little bit, and you're gonna realize that our lives are just so unimportant on a cosmic timescale. The anxieties of our modern lives, relationship troubles, status rivalries, money issues, all of these things shrink to irrelevance when you zoom out to a cosmic perspective. So there's this really great tweet from Tim Urban that I love, and I think it really beautifully exemplifies this idea of cosmic insignificant therapy, and I want to read it to you here. The last stars will die out 120 trillion years from now at most, followed by 10 to the 106 years of just black holes. Condensed, that's like the universe starting with 1 second of stars and then a billion years of just black holes. Stars are basically the immediate after effects of the Big Bang. A 1 second sizzle of brightness before settling into an essentially endless era of darkness. We live in that one bright second. So idea number 4 is that we need to learn to be more patient. We are more impatient than ever before. Technological advancements have certainly fast-forwarded this process. If you think about reading, for example, we used to read books, which got compressed into articles, and newspapers, which got compressed even further into tweets. If we think about music, we once went to the store and bought albums physically. Then we could buy them online, and now we can stream literally any song in the world in a second on our phones. Virtually every single technology has allowed us to get things done more quickly. You think that by getting these tasks done quicker, we would actually reduce our impatience, increase our happiness. However, the exact opposite is true. We have now become unhappier, more impatient, and we're trying to cram more and more into our everyday lives. And one of the biggest issues with us being impatient is that we have a hard time just letting problems and life unfold in their natural time. What we would rather do instead, and what feels better for us, is to jump into the quickest solution even if it's not the best one, just so that we can tell ourselves we're working on it. So there's this really great parable in the book that exemplifies why patience is a really great thing for all of us to have in our lives. The story is from this photographer/art teacher, Arno Minkinen. So he basically gets you to imagine that there's this big central bus station and they all start from the same spot. And they go on their routes individually. But for the first part of that route, they all make identical stops. So they're all going the exact same direction. So he gets you to think about each stop on this bus route as a year in your professional career. And so you get on one of these buses, you pick an artistic direction because he was a photography teacher, and you start going on that route. So maybe you are doing one type of art, whatever it is, and you begin to accumulate a portfolio of work. And so 3 bus stops later, or 3 years later in your career, you've accumulated this large portfolio of work that you're proud of, and so you take your work and you go to the owner of an art gallery. But you're disappointed to find out that the art gallery owner doesn't like the work. He actually tells you that it is unoriginal, it's derivative, because it looks just like the artwork of, let's call this other gentleman named Penn. Penn's bus, or Penn's artistic career, it turns out, was on the exact same path as yours. And so the result is that your work and Penn's work looks very similar. So you're pissed off. You're like,
oh my god, I just spent all this time, I wasted this time.
You're annoyed at yourself. And so what you do is you call a cab, you call an Uber, and you head back to the bus station. And your goal, and you're telling yourself, is
I'm gonna hop on a new bus, I'm gonna specialize in something new, it's not gonna be like anyone else.
But a few bus stops later, you get off and you realize the same thing happens, that your new body of work is once again derivative. It is unoriginal. It looks just like the people who were on the path before you. And so, annoyed at yourself once again, you go back to the bus station. But the issue is that this pattern just keeps on repeating itself. Nothing that you ever produce truly ever gets recognized as your own. And so Minkinen paused and he asked all the students that he was presenting the speech to, what do I do? What should you do? And he said, it's really simple. Stay on the fucking bus. Because if you do, in time, you are going to start to see a difference. And so I know that this is something that I've struggled with personally. I've compared myself to certain people. I've worried that I haven't been original or that my content or whatever it is copying someone else's. But there's no point in starting over because you are always going to feel like you're copying someone else's until you aren't. And I thought that this story was a really beautiful way of exemplifying patience in everyday life. And so those are my 4 key takeaways from Oliver Burkeman's 4,000 Weeks. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it is one of my favorite books of all time. If you guys have not read it, please pick up a copy. I promise you will not regret it. And so that's all I got for you today. If you are still watching the video and you enjoyed it, please make sure to drop it a like. Subscribe to my channel for more content just like this. I will see you guys in the next one. And until next time, stay curious.